Thank you so much, Timur. Next, we have Pat McGrath, VP of Navcast, to speak about scaling systems for coastal waters. Welcome, Pat.
Just me. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to speak today. I want to talk about scaling solutions for coastal markets. It's a big problem because coastal markets are huge and the costs are huge, and if you want to scale, it's one thing to scale in a 7,000 vessel fleet at sea, deep sea fishing. It's another thing to scale 400,000 coastal vessels. It's a completely different order of magnitude. So the talk today will go a little bit through what is Alon. Is it a vessel monitoring system or what is it? How do you achieve scale in these massive markets? And, oh man, it's hard. Don't get me wrong. In the Philippines, I'm going to use as an example, that's where I'm based. There are about just under 6,000 commercial vessels. Okay, that's the basics. Over 400,000 coastal vessels. That's 80 times as big. 80 times as complicated because there's people's lives and economies and education and all kinds of things going on in these communities that make it more complicated, and 80 times more important. I mean, these people are taking out more fish than the commercial guys out of the first 5 kilometers of sea, right where the spawning's done, right where the feed are coming from. High density, intensive fishing. It's very, very important. What is Alon? It's a device that goes on a boat. It monitors the vessel. It allows for communications. It's solar powered. It means no wires, no cables, no nothing. So very simple, 2 screws to install. It is a satellite-based communications device. What does that mean? No reliance on shore power, no reliance on anything other than a connection to the satellite above. It has a market-leading feature set. For instance, it does the monitoring of a vessel monitoring system. It allows for messaging, for people to communicate. It has IUUF features like dynamite blast detection, things like that. Market at sea formation, things like that are built into the device, and allows for traceability and IoT features. Very strong safety at sea features, both the SOS request and an anti-capsize capability. It's integrated with many, many systems, Trackwell, BFAR in the Philippines, and everyone's shoreside systems, because our commercial systems are integrated with those and we use the same interface. So we're automatically there, and it's substantially less expensive. It's designed for the coastal market. From a communications perspective, the primary is satellite communications, 24/7, 365. It's an iridium base, so that's very good coverage, very low latency. It's not zero, but it's, for our purposes, very low latency. In the second interface is short-range Bluetooth, so you can connect to this device with gadgets like your phone or a sensor attached to the side of a boat. It also has an NFC tag reader built into it, so you can tag using this device. Store and forward communications means if you collect a lot of data, you don't want to use the satellite to send it, it'll store it on here and allow you to send it when you get to shore. And it has long-range Bluetooth connection, which allows, through Bluetooth, you to connect 1.5 kilometers apart in 2 vessels. So it allows for free communications between boats that are within 1.5 kilometers of each other. The key to this, and the key to this message, is sharing the load. The only way we believe that 400,000 Philippine boats can be equipped, the equivalent multiple in Indonesia and so on and so forth, is if many constituencies get value out of the same system. If they're all building and putting in their own single-purpose devices, you can never get any sharing, and there's just too many boats. So we have a device, and we'll go through some of these quickly, that has a benefit to the various constituencies. For the fisher folk themselves, what do they get out of it? The first is safety. You've heard multiple times that safety is the #1 feature. Absolutely. It's absolutely driver. The two things that this does for the fisherman, one is he can ask for help with this switch. The other is if the device hits a certain angle, it automatically requests help. So it's an anti-capsize or a capsize detection. The second thing the fisherman gets is a messaging tool. He can talk to his friends within 1.5 kilometers for free, or he can use ship-to-shore communication using a texting tool a lot like WhatsApp called Adarna. Another thing that the device has for the fishing company, so the second constituency, the fish processor, the fishing company, is ability to tag the fish. So for high-value species like tuna, mahi-mahi, and such, they can tag the fish. Provenance data is now recorded. When, where was that fish caught? Put the tag on the back of the fish, and now that fish going through the processing chain will always be identified and will always have a location and time of catch. For the management authorities like the cities, the municipalities, or the national regulators, many tools for monitoring fishing, including keep out areas, all your traditional VMS tools, illegal practices, IUUF detection, like I mentioned, dynamite blast detection, illegal fishing gear, which is a feature we're developing. It's not available yet, but it tracks the orientation and behavior of the boat and deduces what kind of vessel or what kind of gear it's using. Offshore market transshipment, by putting proximity sensors on the side of the boat, we can tell you when markets are forming. Well, we can tell you when boats are coming together at sea. That's pretty innocent, but when every Thursday at 3, 20 boats come together in a market, you might deduce that a market is forming there and being able to track that. And it's a communications channel for the regulator for catch reports, broadcast messaging, and two-way direct communication with the fisher folk. Never, ever underestimate that last one. The regulator and the fishermen rarely talk, right? There's always these agencies between them. And this is a channel of communication from the fisherman himself and the regulator. It becomes a very powerful agent of change. For the coastal safety authorities, the coast guards and such, this, as you know, the tragedy of a vessel lost at sea is usually reported by the family saying, my husband went out this morning, I think he went southeast, and he hasn't come back. There's very little, it's all subjective data. So this system provides objective data, it provides changing data. And in bancas in the Philippines, with a good wind, if their engine goes out, they can be blown a long ways. So you can get a position report that is an hour old, and he could be 10 kilometers away from there already. So it keeps updating the information. It allows for two-way communications as long as it's not upsetting the water, so that they can discuss when the vessel's coming, what the problem is, that sort of thing. And most powerfully of all, the force multiplier is when the Coast Guard or the agency sees a vessel in trouble, he can talk to the vessels nearby and get them to give them some aid before a Coast Guard vessel can get there. Often a Coast Guard vessel is 2-3 hours away. So they can get somebody there much quicker by having the ability to see on their screen and talk to them. So we just sold a system to the Coast Guard last week. It's a big part of our vision of what these alliances for the coastal waters, the different agencies that have to be involved. Coastal security, two things there's a few features for coastal security, but one is by integrating the location and identity that's provided by an Alon device, much like other tracking devices, and integrating that data with radar, SAR, or other information, you can start to deduce which of the vessels that are troubled, that are at risk, or that sort of thing. So you allow them to use the system to manage their agenda from that perspective. The second is built into our messaging app is a fisherfolk hotline. Over and over again, fisherfolk tell us that they want to contribute to the safety and security of their country. They see things at sea at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they can't engage it in any way. They just see it, a vessel whistling by, and they don't know what to do. Now they have a way with this app of sending that information to the authorities, and the authorities can communicate with them about what they're seeing. Again, a force multiplier. Again, the other side of it is very powerful. The command center of the security agency can see something on a radar, and long before they can get a vessel or a helicopter there to see what that radar image is, they might be able to ask a fishing vessel nearby by communicating, by initiating the call and saying, hey, there's a vessel 3 kilometers from you. What do you see? And engage that topic. Finally, the final constituency I want to talk about is the scientific research community. We provide a transfer of data mechanism. So if you put a sensor on a buoy, or you put a sensor on the side of the boat, whatever you care about, Mr. Scientist, you collect the data. We can use the Elan network to get that data to shore and get it onto the internet where you need it. So you're not burdened as a scientist with not just collecting the information you want and understanding it, but having to figure out how to get the data from sea to your desk. I don't know that there's another way. When I look at just the Philippines, I extrapolate it to India or Indonesia. When I look at the math, just the raw math, is there another way than we all share the load? We all get these different agencies, security and safety and whatnot together. Can any one agency, can the fisherman do it by himself, the fishing companies? But we can all participate through this device, by a device designed to support them all. We can use your help in this room, everywhere, to make these alliances work better. And like I said, it's very hard. This is not an easy way to make a living.